So, all right, Phil, Happy New Year. I'm going to play for everybody Auld Lang Syne, actually in Arabic. So let me get this on, and let's see if you can see it and hear it. Can you see it? ونجوم صاروا بعاد والليل يعيد راس السنين إن شاء الله عليكم ينعاد فجر وشمس ليل وقمر عم تمضى هالأيام نفرح سوا بليلة سهر تتحقق الأحلام عام قضى آخد معه ذكرى فرح ودموع والجاي شو جايب معه للخير ضو شموع دار الأمان اللي بالهوى وبقلبي ما في غير نفرح سوا نعيد سوا كل عام وانتو بخير كل عام وانتو بخير 2019 ما تخلوا حدا يلعب لكم بعقلاتكم ويقول لكم انه الرقم بشع ما تسمعوا هدول اللي على التلفزيون ما حدا بينجم وحده ربنا هو العارف وهو السهران العشبة اللي اليوم موجودة وبكرة بتحرق بالتنوق بالنار صح مش هيك قالنا هو هالقد بلبسها وبيهتم فيها فكيف لكم أنتم فأمين. Okay, Happy New Year everyone. We're welcome to Zoom Palestine. Welcome Tom Cox from Brooklyn for Peace. Welcome Phil from, are you still in Iowa or have you freed yourself? Are you free?
I'm in Brooklyn.
You're in Brooklyn. Okay, good for you. You and Tom both in Brooklyn. I got to get you two guys together, Tom and Phil. You must meet each other. And Nayef is here from Hebron. And Richard is here from Lebanon. Kelman was here a few minutes ago. Charlotte is here, also from Brooklyn for Peace, which is an awesome group, Nayef. You have
It's always me from Brooklyn for Peace. It was me before. It was Tom. It's not Tom.
Oh, it was you.
Tom may join, but that was me.
Oh, okay. So Charlotte. Yeah. Okay, there's Charlotte. Charlotte's an awesome warrior. She's a take no prisoners advocate for Palestine and one of the administrators for Brooklyn for Peace. So Phil, you need to join this group. It's awesome, very inspiring to see people with passion for justice. So welcome everybody to our Zoom Palestine session. I forgot to feed my cat, so there's going to be a little cat and dog conflict. Anyhow, I want to start out as usual. I hope you enjoyed Auld Lang Syne in Arabic. I'm going to share with you some of the electronic intifada article that I found. Oh, there's one thing I wanted to read to you quickly. Here's somebody who said, I was asked a question from a Palestinian perspective, what should happen to Israel and the Israelis? And this gentleman, he's Nadal Zahan, who lives in Palestine, born in 1980, so young guy, says, well, different Palestinians think differently. The majority are no longer interested in destroying Israel or the Israeli society and are willing to accept one of the two solutions that genuinely guarantees a full exercise of their rights. This Palestinian in particular would love to live side by side with Jewish Israelis in one democratic state where everyone is equal. I am not in favor of quotas along religious lines because that would only entrench each community, like what's happening in Lebanon. With Richard, you can share that with us. I would, however, entertain the idea of devolution of certain powers to community level, similar to the Belgian model in culture and education, but hopefully with less extensive government, because this can help enrich cultural identity. Is it possible? No. Is it difficult? Hell yes. But what if Martin Luther King thought his dream was too difficult to pursue? This was over 60 years ago, and the fight is still going. I would rather that we would all put our energies to peace rather than waste it on undermining the possibility. So I found that on Quora this morning. I thought it was a very interesting comment. And we've had a lot of diverse discussions and opinions regarding the one state or two state solution. From the electronic intifada, I'm going to share the screen for you, hopefully, so that you can see it. Hold on. Can you all see it? See the screen? Can everybody see the screen of the electronic intifada? No? Yes? I don't know where my chat went.
Yes.
Phil reminded me. Thank you. Okay, thanks. Yeah, Phil was reminding me to look at my chat, but it often disappears while I'm doing this. Okay, so let's read some good news. Let's start out the new year with hope and read some good news. How about this? This article discusses the possibilities of the success in let's see if I can find it. Where did it disappear to? The success of, here we go. What were the top BDS victories of 2021? So let's look on the victories and feel good about the year. This year marks significant wins for the right to boycott Israel. And here's a great photograph. And they write, despite the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, 2021 was a year of accelerated boycott, divestment, and sanctions BDS campaigning, successful grassroots actions, and significant legal victories for Palestinian rights. Pension funds dumped Israeli firms. Cultural figures refused to cross the picket line. And a major ice cream maker, Ben & Jerry's, pulled its product from illegal Israeli settlements. Sustained direct actions in Oakland, California successfully extracted a price on Israel after it carried out a lethal 11-day attack on during May. Remember, the union refused to unload Israeli ships. In early June, as part of an international wave of protests under the banner of, quote, hashtag block the boat, activists and longshore workers prevented an Israeli cargo ship from docking at the city's port for more than 2 weeks after its scheduled arrival date. The vessel ostensibly attempted to avoid the picket line and left the Bay Area port with its cargo intact. And in the UK, protesters with Palestine Action forced Israeli arms factories to shut down operations at several of their locations in Britain. Activists have carried out sit-ins and sabotage against the Israeli-owned Elbit Systems premises, shutting factories down, smashing windows, damaging equipment, graffitiing and splashing walls with red paint to symbolize Palestinian blood. Palestinian Action, formed during 2020, carried out more than 70 actions against Elbit in its first year, including 20 high-profile occupation of sites and factories. In December, Palestinian Action won an important legal victory on campaigns who defaced an Israeli drone engines factory. They were acquitted of criminal damage charges. Quote, we're going to continue to take direct action in order to shut down and undermine Israel's arms trade, Palestinian Action co-founder Huda Amori told the Electronic Intifada. After years of organizing in the U.S. and by Palestinian boycott campaigners, Ben & Jerry's, the ice cream maker owned by Unilever, announced in July it would no longer sell its products in illegal Israeli settlement colonies, saying such sales were, quote, inconsistent with its values. Israeli leaders and lobby groups melted down over the news, using smears against the ice cream company and the board members. Yair Lapid, Israel's foreign minister, vowed to lean on the more than 24 U.S. states that have passed anti-BDS measures to, quote, enforce these laws against Ben & Jerry's, while Prime Minister Naftali Bennett promised to act aggressively against the ice cream maker. But amidst the threats, the company has so far defended its actions. Welcome, Ed Brody, also from Brooklyn for Peace. The Palestinian BDS National Committee has urged Ben & Jerry's to, quote, end all operations in apartheid Israel. In late December, a notorious anti-Palestinian blacklisting site named the company's board chair as its top anti-Semite of the year, prompting civil rights groups Palestine Legal to remark how such accusations ring hollow. And also other Israeli firms have been dumped, pension funds dumped investment portfolios over Israeli human rights abuses and international law violations. So besides Elbit Systems, the New Zealand, their $33 billion national pension fund said they've excluded 5 Israeli banks from its portfolio because of its role in financing Israeli settlements. The NZ Super Fund concluded holding shares in Israel's biggest banks would violate its responsible investment policy. Also, pension funds in Norway and Scotland also divested from Israeli settlement profiteers, including construction companies, telecommunication corporations, and banks. The lawmaker in Finland introduced a bill that would ban the import of goods from Israeli settlements. EU, the European Union, was forced to register a European Citizens Initiative that seeks to block trade with the settlements. So these measures could potentially close off the lucrative access to EU markets employed by businesses operating Israeli settlements. So accompanying, of course, the victories over the anti-BDS law, we have a terrific harassment of activists. I'm not going to read the whole article, but and also the Canadians want to end the armed state, wide support for Palestinian rights, boycotts in culture and sports. And they also, as you may remember, that the Israeli intelligence firms, particularly NSO, which we had a whole program on I think it was last month or 2 months ago, they are now on the American blacklist because they were caught hacking into embassies, American embassies, and that the software that has been sold to other governments by NSO have been found to be used into being used against American interests. So help is on the way. Nayef, help is on the way. So with that background of being hopeful, we are very, very fortunate to have wonderful speaker and to be interviewed today, Nayef, who has a amazing center for nonviolence in Hebron. And if any of you have been to Hebron, you know it's the most apartheid state on the planet, I think. It's very violent, where the UN and various church groups have been sending volunteers to walk the Palestinian children to school because the settlers attacked them. And we have some people watching on Facebook, Mohammed Salman, welcome. And myself, I experienced settler violence when I was in Hebron, and I got lost trying to find my way back to where I was staying in the Palestinian quarter, and ended up on a settlement near Moses Mountain, and was misdirected by the Israeli soldiers, and ended up climbing to the top of Moses Mountain in the middle of August. And I had been walking for hours with no water, and I collapsed. I thought it was the end of my life, and I actually started to make a goodbye video on my phone because I figured if the Israelis spotted me, I would be shot, crawling along the ground. And I watched a woman settler try to almost run me over. It's a really insane, crazy situation there. And I'm amazed that there's a Center for Nonviolence, because I always feel very violent after I get out, when I got out. So I'm in awe of your adherence to the principles of nonviolence in a situation where we're really provoked. So I'm going to start out with introducing, reading a little introduction about our guest, and from him, a page that he posted of poems for Hebron, particularly the Palestinian children who live there, were small victims of Israel's state-sponsored racism, apartheid, home demolitions, and ethnic cleansing. The photographs in this page are by Nayef Hashlamoun, our honored guest, an award-winning Palestinian photographer and journalist who worked for Reuters for 20 years. He's also the founder and CEO of the Alwatan Center in Hebron, which I sent you the information in the email, where he specializes in conflict resolution and carries out relief and development projects for the Palestinian people. He graduated from Yarmouk University, which is in Jordan, with a bachelor's degree. Quiet dogs. We have a lot of fireworks for the New Year's out the window. With a bachelor's degree in journalism. Rabbit, quiet. They're both Jordan dogs, and they're not used to the noise. Rabbit is a Canaan dog from Palestine, and she's the loudest. So he got a bachelor's degree in journalism. He has given lectures and conducted workshops in the United States, Jordan, and Palestine. He's a recipient of several awards and honors, including the Best Photojournalist of 2009 from the Arab Youth Media Forum. He first became interested in nonviolent resistance as a child after he met the very famous Dr. Mubarak Awad while taking a class on Gandhi and on Martin Luther King Jr. So here's a beautiful picture on the website, and I'm going to scroll down. Inshallah, I can scroll down and read a few of the poems. And here's a picture of the children of Hebron lighting candles in sympathy with the children of Gaza during a peace rally. And he quotes Michael Birch, who wrote an epitaph for the children of Gaza, for a child of Gaza, which goes, I lived as best I could, and then I died. Be careful where you step. The grave is wide. Then a poem from called Frail Envelope of Flesh by Michael R. Birch for the mothers and children of Gaza. Frail envelopes of flesh lying cold on the surgeon's table, with anguished eyes like your mother's eyes, and a heartbeat weak, unstable. Frail crucible of dust, brief flower, come to this. Your tiny hand in your mother's hand for a last bewildered kiss. Brief mayfly of a child to live 2 artless years. Now your mother's lips seal up your lips from the deluge of her tears. Here's a poem by the Palestinian poet Khalid Nasibeh that goes, and here's some photographs that Nayef managed to take without getting shot. You have to tell us how you managed that, Nayef. you managed to get these photographs without getting shot or arrested. I almost got arrested just taking a picture of a wall in Hebron. And this poem by Colleen goes, the oppressed can but pursue suitable tracks, learning to heed the lessons of awesome war. But will the mighty listen to the nation's voice, that justice will accomplish the peace of Rome? Or will conscience's dictates be inexorably ignored as war's clouds hover over culture's great cradle? And yet we do not harbor the odium of hatred, but pray that peace can still be humanity's finest hour. And here's another photograph. We will not read the whole thing. I will post a link to it on the email that I send out, so you can read and appreciate these photographs, which are really quite extraordinary. I have no idea how you managed to take them and get away with it. But they're beautiful photographs and beautiful poetry. Thank you, Nayef, for all of your work. So let's talk to you, begin our interview. And as you know, anybody is willing to interject a question along the way, just not muting anybody. So Charlotte, if you can unmute yourselves. And so Nayef, what makes you so different? How come? What was in you that responded to Gandhi, the story of Gandhi and Martin Luther King, at a time when there was a lot of violence going on? Yeah. So what makes you so different and unique?
Salam, peace, shalom for everybody. Happy New Year, brothers and sisters. I am so happy to be with you at the first day of the new year 2022. My name is Nayef Hashlamoun. I was born in Hebron city, and I am, since I was 8 years old, my father was a worker working with cutting stones. So he has a desk at his back. So he becomes without any job, without any also brother. So I have to take care about my family since I was 8 years old. So I have to work from 5 a.m. in the morning till 7 o'clock. So I have to go after that to school. Then after school, I have to work to help my family, because I was the oldest son at the family. This gives me a responsibility to deal as a man since when I was 8 years old. And of course, when I finished, when I was around 12 to 13 years old, it was the war 1967. And from the first hour, I shocked by the Israeli soldiers from the first hours. Till now, I have this image. They point their guns at me and some children. We were around 5 children. Then after I finished my school, I have to go to the university. My father and family, mother, they want me to be a doctor. I went to study in Romania. I finished after 3 years, it happened, violence and the clashes in Lebanon. So I went from Europe, from my school to Lebanon. I involved in violence with the PLO. Because as any Palestinian wants to liberate his country from the Israeli military occupation. But one day, I am so happy that I did not use my gun to shoot at people. And one night I was thinking about this situation. It comes to me dozens of questions. And in the end, I said I couldn't continue to be involved in violence. I couldn't kill. So I moved from violence to non-violence. I left Lebanon. I said I have to carry a camera and pen, or instead of carrying a gun. I went to Jordan and I studied journalism in Jordan. I went after the school to Palestine, to the West Bank, and I started thinking about activities in non-violence. I started to ask who can be thinking in the same, in peace, in conflict resolution, in non-violence. People told me that somebody called Mubarak Awad in Jerusalem. I went, I met with him, and we becomes as a friend, and started non-violence in the West Bank in the mid of 1980s.
Wow.
Yes. He established his office in Jerusalem. I established my office in Hebron under the name of Alwatan. Alwatan means homeland. So, but because we were under Israeli military occupation, it's not allowed to me to deal or to speak in politics, or to even to have non-violence activities or any activity. So I become just as a journalist, but in the same time, I was dealing or doing some activities, non-violent activities. 1993, I established our center, Alwatan Center, in 1988. In 1983, we invited Marshall Rosenberg from America, United States, and to give us a workshop, a training, 2 days in Hebron about conflict resolution and peace studies for political and community leaders in Hebron. It was really, really very powerful and a great workshop that was as Intifada also, during the Intifada to talk about peace, about conflict resolution. It was really something very big.
Yeah.
Okay, and some of...
Tell us about Marshall Rosenberg.
Marshall Rosenberg, yes.
Her.
Yes, if you Google about him in Google, put Marshall Rosenberg, you can see that his theory talking about the language of giraffe and language of jackal, which means the language of peace or the language of the violence. And he was head of a non-violence center in the United States and a professor at in the United States. Yes. Then I went in 1995 to the American University to study peace studies and conflict resolution as a summer institute. Then I went in 99 also to School for International Training in Vermont, which means I, of course, during that year started to read about peace, about Gandhi, about, all of the activists who think or believe in peace. Especially because my background, I went first to deal with violence. And because our country till now, we are living under military occupation. So daily life here, you can hear shooting. Before you were speak, it was shooting outside. That asking me that so sad to hear about killing people or demolish housing or cutting trees or confiscated lands. So I become so to be activist for peace and to stop any kind of violence, especially in the Holy Land, because this land is the land of the Christ, Jesus. It must be also for Christian, for Jews, for Muslims. This land we have to work together to be a holy land. Really, people live in peace. For that, I believe in that. Because also I was shot many times by the Israeli soldiers. They shot me from not far distance, just from short distance. They beated me during my work as a photojournalist for Reuters many times. But all of these gave me a power and gave me a courage to be really a fighter for peace. I believe that all of the people in the world as one family. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter your belief or your sex or whatever. I am looking to the people, also my family, my children. Okay, I educated them to live in peace, not in violence, and to hate all kinds of violence. Now, I am till now just working for Alwatan Center as a volunteer, because Alwatan Center it's an organization for civic education, conflict resolution, and violence center. This we have many. If you go, please and visit to our website. Here is one of our brochure. This picture was 2 days after September 11. Yes, this picture. This is Alwatan Center. Alwatan, and here about our activities. We are a community center. We are working with people from different levels, for the elites, for the leaders, political and community leaders, till also for children, for youth. Especially we have some programs to empowerment the woman to be involved in decision making. So we have programs or activities specific for women. This gave us, and also because we are independent, we have good relations with local and international people. We are so happy as Alwatan Center. But as you know, because after Trump, we got many times before that fund for our activities from American churches, from maybe from British Council, you know, from Palestinian community people. But after Trump came, stopped all of the fund for Palestinians. So from Trump till now, we don't have a fund, especially from Americans. Also during COVID-19, we freezing all of our activities. But now we have, we are planning for the to start some activities in the nearly future. We have it doesn't matter that we don't have the budget, but we have the heart, we have the power, we have the belief that we have to work.
Nayef, let me ask you a question quickly. I thought Biden restored all the funding for Palestinians.
Sorry?
That I thought President Biden restored the funding.
We are waiting. No, till now nothing, because also the Israelis refused to reopen the American consulate in Jerusalem. Until now, no any new project from USAID or from American organization till now. But we are waiting.
Why are the Israelis keeping the embassy closed?
Because they're saying Jerusalem is just for Israelis, for Israel, not for any support or any activities for Palestinians. They want to be the American consulate in the West Bank, not out of Jerusalem, not inside Jerusalem. Because they consider Israel as a capital, Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. But we said, and we say that Jerusalem is for both countries. West Jerusalem for Israel, East Jerusalem for Palestine. But the Israelis, because they have the power, they refuse till now to reopen the American consulate in Jerusalem. In the same building since it was since dozens of the years, that the building for the American consulate. We are waiting.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Please.
Can I say something?
Yes, Richard, please.
Okay, one question and then one comment. Question is this: would I don't know about Israel, but would the Palestinian agree to have one country and two nations, like in Canada? We have one country and two nations. Actually, we should have three nations because the native were here before. But what about that idea?
And me personally, with Dr. Mubarak Awad, we said that we asked that since more than 30 years to be one country for everybody in the world, for Christian, for Jews, for Muslim, to be one country. The Holy Land is one country, but the Israelis, they refused. Me personally, I agree with you. If it's possible, me personally, I like people to be united. Okay.
Yeah.
To be united. Yes.
Okay,
And it's easier to be two countries because now, because of the settlements, dozens of settlements inside the West Bank. So not easy to ask them to leave, to remove the settlement. So one country for everybody, for all of the people is better.
Yeah, divide to conquer. The other thing is, well, this is another attack. We have the DBS or BDS, what we call it. It appears to me, from being in Lebanon for 10 years, that there is one thing the world does not know, surprisingly it is, what a Semite is. You know you're a Semite, right?
Semite?
I didn't know that.
You're Semitic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Palestinians are
most people don't know
that. Yes.
You know, you tell a Lebanese that you're a Semite, say, I don't have that disease. He said, look, the whole Middle East is Semite. So when you go against Lebanese or Palestinian or Syrian or Iraqis, you are anti-Semite. But the Jews keep on pushing the idea they're the only one that are Semite, but they're not. And I think it is the next battle would be to let the world know what is a Semite. Because in the views of the Jews, at least the Zionists, the only Semite are the Jews. Well, sorry, but you're not. And as long as they keep on pushing the idea that the only one, then the world doesn't know. So you have to wake them up. I was surprised myself to find out that most people don't know what a Semite is. Well, it's the descendant of Abraham, who was a Semite from Iraq. So I don't know, the BDS was or still is a battle. Well, you should have another one now as to educate, inform what is a Semite. Not just the
Thank
Jews.
you, Richard. That's very good suggestion, a very wonderful insight. Nayef, I wanted to ask you, when I went to Hebron and I saw how crazy the settlers were and the settlements were. It was shocking to me, and I'd been in Israel, I've been in Ramallah and other Palestinian cities, but I never saw anything like Hebron and the settlers there. More people on Facebook. Thank you, Eugene Hernandez. Thank you. And I came back to the place I was staying in, this little peace center run by Ayman al-Fawqari, who was going to try to join us, but he wasn't able to. And I said, who isn't there? There's got to be a few sane settlers that can't people just get people together from a few settlers, a couple Palestinians, and let them just try to talk. And I was told that there's actually a law, an Israeli law preventing Palestinians and Jews from talking together. Is that true?
Yeah. And can you ask? I did not understand exactly the question.
Is there a law, an Israeli
Yes.
law, for the
Yeah.
military occupation of Hebron
Yes.
that does not allow Palestinian Arabs and Jews from the settlements to dialogue, to create a dialogue, to talk together?
I didn't hear any dialogue between Arabs and Israeli settlers at all. Just that the dialogue, violence dialogue in the streets, not around the table. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
That is the
But
dialogue, but no any dialogue, no any discussion.
Is it forbidden by law to have discussion?
Look, Israeli authority or Israeli government, they have the law, their law is just for, or their democratics or whatever, just for Israelis. But when it is related with the Arabs, something else, not exactly what is written. But they have nice items in the law, but on the ground different. Dealing with Arab different. They look how they deal with Arabs, about if any Arab fight, hand fighting with Israelis, they shoot the Arab and they support the Israeli Jew. This is not equality. So this is their democratic just as a propaganda. Not true. Yesterday they killed the Palestinian. Every day, most of the days, they kill or shoot Palestinian people, Palestinian farmer. They cutting trees and confiscated land, whatever. And when after they killed any Palestinian, they say he carrying a knife, or he came to stab a soldier. They lie. Just the soldier, he wants to shoot, he can shoot the Palestinian, and it's very easy to do that. Why he shoot this Palestinian? So I don't think that they have a law for negotiation or a dialogue. I gave you examples. Dr. Mubarak Awad, this is not from now. This is before 30 years or more than 30 years. Okay. Mubarak Awad, he considered as Arab Gandhi. But as Arab Gandhi, they arrested him 6 times. And he is a professor, and he is a Christian, and he is a peaceful man. They arrested him 6 times, then they deported him to America. Now he lives, since 30 years, he lives in Washington, D.C., the head of Nonviolence International. You can read and you can search about who is he. And yeah, he is a Christian. He is a peaceful man.
Now, okay, so tell us some specific strategies that you are developing to break through, to get some kind of dialogue. How is it possible when, you know, the Jewish settlers in Hebron are Mishiga, that's Yiddish for crazy, Mishiga. They are Majdu, you know, they're really very difficult. How can you possibly do anything to
Yes.
reach them?
If you go to Alwatan Center website, you can see that we at Alwatan invited many times Israeli Jews, even rabbis and Christians and Buddhist from Japan, also people, you know, activists for dialogue together at Alwatan Center. You understand? But and also we did the project for Palestinian victims' family to teach them or educate them peacefully or peace activities or peace education through using camera, you know, and also educated and trained them to be a peaceful activist, you know. We success in that program, and at the same time similar program at the Israeli settlers. Their program failed, but our program very successful. This telling you that our people want to live in peace, but the settlers, they don't want peace because they believe that they have the power, they have the money, okay, and they have the, sorry to say that American government supporting them with trillions, so they don't want, they believe that they are they have to live and they have to kill the Palestinian or push them outside the country. You can't imagine, and I am sure that you saw that on the ground here in the West Bank or in especially in Hebron. Or
Yeah, it was awful. There was a film that just came out called Mission that
Yes.
everybody needs to look at. If you don't know about Hebron, look at this movie called Mission. And it is an interview with IDF soldiers about being assigned to Hebron. And they talked about all the terrible things they had to do, many of them had regrets about what they had to do, and they were glad to leave Hebron. But this film Mission really is a wonderful expose of the brutality, because the settlers even attacked the soldiers. When the soldiers tried to stop the settlers from attacking Palestinians, or when not allowing the settlers to do whatever they wanted, the settlers turned on the IDF, calling them Nazis and attacking them, throwing rocks at them. So the settlers in Hebron are a very special, crazy, psychotic group. It's an example of mass psychosis, of group psychosis.
Yep.
So what do you see as a future? What you said your dialogue is effective with Israelis, with Jews. What do you expect for this year that might change, and might, what projects are you looking forward to? And you told me you're also working with farmers cooperative. So
Yes.
tell us what your hopes are for the year 2022.
Yes. All the time we have a big hope that the future will be better, you know, and will be not just for us here in the Holy Land or the Middle East. We have a big hope all the time, but unfortunately, the who believe in violence or the political leaders who believe in violence, they have the power, and they keep killing people in different countries. And people who believe in peace, they don't have the power, even they don't have the money, but they have the big heart. We, by our big heart, gives us the big hope that the peace will be hopefully in the near future. We as Alwatan keep running, keep working. At least we are working with our people, with our women, with our children, with our youth, you know, to help them to live in peace, especially from inside, to give them the education and the peacefully thinking inside themselves, and try to healing them from the daily suffering, from the bad news, daily bad news, to help them to at least to think in peace, not to think towards violence. That is the great effort or target what we are doing through our center. We are very happy that a lot of organization here or activists were educated at Alwatan Center. These activists here in the West Bank, you know, we will keep running and working on what we believe. We believe in peace, and we will fight peacefully for our hope or for our belief for Palestinian rights, and for peacefully democratic state for Palestinian, and for human rights. Yes.
Yeah. Does anybody else have any questions or comments for our hero? You are our hero. You're amazing. You were shot 4 times, he said. How many times were you put in jail?
Me personally, last time I was putting in jail 3 months ago, but at the Palestinian jail, not at the Israeli jail.
So
But for 2 nights, me with another 24, all of us 24 activists, we were preparing for a protest to be a Palestinian, you know, human rights and democratic state. So it was they detained us for two nights, and then we went to the court. The court we went 3 times. The last time we have to go at January 19. We are waiting. Yes, me with all of us now around 35 activists. But in the Israeli jail, me personally, because I was journalist, they were detaining me for a few hours, but Reuters, they liberated me all the time. But they shot me, and also, it was a critical case with a heart attack.
Oh, you know? Dear.
Yes,
wow.
Yes. And yes, where I was 9 days at the CCU. Then I went after that to Egypt for the treatment.
How are you now? How is your health now? Okay.
Now I am so happy that I went to United States, and the church, besides the church, they took me to a clinic, to a doctor in Washington DC, and they take care about me, and everything is okay with me. And also they gave me for a few years medicine. But now, and that doctor was a Jew, and so happy that I am Palestinian and he is a Jew. His name William Silverman, I think.
Wonderful.
Well, yes.
Let me. Meds, I'm coming over in the summer, so if you need meds, let me know. I can bring you stuff.
Now we have. Excuse me, can I interrupt you? Now we are working because of the COVID-19 and people suffering about the food and about the vegetables. That we started a farm to help our center and to help our people. and looking now to be a farming school. So we need now a help to develop this project.
Very
Yes.
good. Excellent.
Yes,
That's very
because
important.
people they need food, vegetables, you know, and this, and through teaching or educated women to help them to have a house garden, family garden, you know.
Excellent.
Now
So
this is
teaching
our
women
project,
how
and
to
through
very good.
it's,
Yeah.
through giving them the skills, agriculture, farming, and education. Okay, we give them peace education and conflict resolution education through their work. You know, this is give empowering woman to help her economically, and also we give her politically education to help her, empowerment her to be involved in women activities in the community.
Excellent.
This is a great project we are looking to work on.
This is wonderful. Does anybody else have any questions or comments for Nayef? Yeah, Richard. Oh, Charlotte. Charlotte, you want to unmute
Yeah,
yourself?
right, yes. Are there other centers like yours in other places in the West Bank or in Gaza which are committed to educating and focusing on nonviolence?
In the Bethlehem, the college called Bethlehem Bible College and Holy Land Trust Center related with the college. This college, I went and I took my master degree last 2019. I finished the third master from there in peace and conflict resolution studies. So just our center and the Holy Land Center in Jerusalem, in Bethlehem.
But there's another center that I didn't think you knew about.
No. Other centers, I don't know.
Yeah, in Hebron, small, very small, run by a young man in his 20s, Ayman al-Fokari.
Who?
Ayman al-Fokari.
Ayman?
Yeah, al-Fokari. Very small classes to help people deal with the psychological effects of occupation. They have like little writing classes, English classes, dance classes, and I think they have a little medical clinic. They're with the hospital, but I'll send you information. You and Ayman.
Please, yes, please.
Yeah, yeah. So they're also involved in nonviolence and help to people who are so traumatized by living under the occupation. I'm traumatized just visiting there. You know, it takes me a week to recover. I go over the King Hussein Bridge. I kiss the ground of Jordan when I get there. I'm so happy to get out of occupied territories because it's stressful for me. And I can't imagine what it's like to live there every day. You're truly heroes to do it. Well, I'm very happy to hear that you're connected with some Israelis, peace activists, and I'm connected with a number of Israeli peace activists also. So we know that there are many people in Israel who are opposed to the occupation, are embarrassed by the occupation. Many Jews in this country also. So I think that there's a groundswell of support for the Palestinians, and I think 2022 is going to be a good year for Palestine. Anybody else have anything?
Especially regarding the peace and equality and justice in Jerusalem and the Holy Land. And I've been trying to make people aware, they're asking about Hebron, that it's like the place of apartheid. If you want to know what apartheid is in the 21st century, you know, is the example is Hebron, and people just can't believe it. They don't know unless they know. And I think one of the things of narrative control is that most people don't know. So when they hear about something, the first thing they hear is what they take on, rather than looking deeper. They don't see why they have a reason to look deeper. So, you know, education in terms of information awareness, sharing information, understanding little video clips, short things, because 2-3 minutes is the most people would normally watch. If you've got like a 25-second, 30-second, yeah, anything to go out on, you know, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter that changes frames. Look, this, like some of the Middle East organizations do. It's very powerful, because people's attention span is getting very short. So if you can get the information over to them really clearly what is going on for them, just not, you know, to have a very neutral in a way in terms of the language used, but at the same time just illustrating, look, this is the truth and this is what is happening, and people get another view. And that's about a lot of subjects as well, but especially, you know, this kind of I do believe that the peace of Jerusalem is necessary for the peace of the world. And I do believe that justice in Palestine and equality and common humanities are very important. Is the only thing that can really determine it. I don't believe the political processes have a solution. I think they're rigged up from the beginning. I think the solution is within the people themselves. I've seen within the medical freedom movement a lot of very outspoken people in Tel Aviv standing up, rallying to thousands of people.
Yeah.
And I think that the kind of language and discourse that they're using in terms of the dialogue, the kind of way that they're calling things out, they say it doesn't matter who the government is in Israel, they're controlled, they're puppets, they're tools of bigger players, you know what I mean? And people are more and more aware of that in the public in Israel. And I think that the hope is of the Israeli and the Palestinians coming together against those forces which seek to continue to divide and rule directly, because I think people have just had enough. Also on that side, they've just had enough. So, you know, them and us no longer works, but not on a governmental level, because that's all just rigged and loaded. You know, I mean, I think that it's between the people themselves. There's no more them and us. The more that they can be the feeling that when Israelis are making a move to change things, that there is the support from the Arab communities. Because in the social justice movement, there wasn't the feeling of the support for people around, and that was one of the things that didn't let them have the courage to really do it at that time. So maybe at this time, with some of the uprisings that are going on, there's a chance, if there's a feeling that their solidarity movements internally between all different factions are also supported by Palestinians, because they know that the people would come up with a better solution than the politicians as a whole. That's what I put as my offering. I just really have to go out, but I love you, Jackie, so much, and take it. It's really great what you're doing.
Anybody else have anything?
Yeah, I want to say one more thing. I'm stressing. I would love to see some signs carried by Palestinian facing the IDF and all the Jews on the other side of the fence saying, I'm a Semite.
Yeah,
just like you.
Yes.
You know, they don't know. I would say most of the Jews in Israel would be surprised to know that they are not the only one who are Semites. Huh? What? No, we are the Semite. You're not a Semite. You're not. And then let them argue back and forth. What is a Semite? Well, it's very simple. Semites are from Hebron and from Ur, which is Iraq. So, but until you don't know, I never wondered about what a Semite was, and so until I came in Lebanon, and then I discovered that, oops, like Ellen Thomas said, when she was accused to be anti-Semitic, she looked at this guy and she says, "Hey, bro, I'm a Lebanese."
I think the other issue is on that, Richard, is that many of the Zionists are really Europeans, and their DNA does not connect them to the Middle East. But they look
they
at it.
They are not Jews, they're Khazarian.
Yeah.
No, Ashkenazis are not Jews, they're Khazarian. The only real Jews, for that matter, are Sephardic. They say, I'm a Jew. Yeah, you're from Ashkenazis, you're not a Jew. Sorry. No more than if you say, I'm a Muslim, I'm an Arab. Well, you can be a Muslim, but don't make you an Arab. So because you have studied or converted to Judaism, doesn't make you a Jew as far as the DNA is concerned. But that's another story.
Yeah.
Okay.
please read for about that, Dr. Mazen Komsiye. Search. I sent his name, Mazen Komsiye.
Okay.
He wrote a lot about this. Mazen Komsiye from Bethlehem
Okay.
University. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you
Got
very
it.
much.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think that we are very grateful for actually the advances that have been made in the year 2021 for Palestinian, for BDS, for acknowledgement of the human rights violation of Palestine. Frank Romano, who is one of the people who started Zoom Palestine with me, but now he's in California, so he's still asleep probably from New Year's Eve. But he is a lawyer and peace activist. He got finally arrested and thrown out of Palestine by the Israelis, but he was in jail, tortured. He led many nonviolent peace marches in both in Israel and in Palestine. And he was one of the lawyers who submitted the brief to the International Criminal Court, accusing Israel of war crimes over the Gaza bombing and stuff. So he's, and that was accepted by the ICC. So that was a wonderful thing that happened this year also, that the International Criminal Court is now looking at the war crimes perpetrated by Israel. And I think this is, and the human rights violations. So I think this is a very encouraging sign. Everything is slow and takes forever, but at least it's inching along. So there were many things that were positive that happened this year. So we should not lose hope for next year, that we know that good will triumph, truth wins, love wins. And we just have to keep the faith that light is more powerful than darkness. And particularly nonviolence, the belief in nonviolence, in art, poetry, creative activities is the way to change the hearts of people. Politics are not going to change things. The only thing that's going to change is when people's hearts change. So, Nayef, please.
Excuse me. Also, we had many activities together with Dr. Paula Green. She is head of Corona Center in the United States. Paula Green, her name. And she came, we invited her to Alwatan Center more than 3 times. She gave workshops also. We invited also Professor Dr. Luis Diamond from Institute for Multi-Track Diplomacy from Washington, D.C., Luis Diamond, many times also. And also we had many activities, invited Dr. Mohammed Abu Nimr from American University. He was the head of Peace Center at the American University, and Dr. Mubarak Awad. So we have many good relations with the American peace centers or universities or churches. We invited also Jack Fellows from National Presbyterian Church. He came to our center 2 times, each time 3 months as a volunteer.
Wow,
So,
that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So if somebody wants to come and volunteer,
Yes.
or donate, how do they do it?
They support us by covering the expenses, and also they were helping us by writing, by using computer, by teaching English for. I give you example. Dr. Jack Fellows, we trained 10 Palestinian English teachers for free 3 months, and gave them to how to deal with the children as not as a teacher, as a trainer, by reading books or stories. And we ask each one of them to teach, to deal with 10 children. So it was very successful program. This is one of the examples. We also help them by the volunteers by helping them to teach Arabic language. So they come to our center to teach our people English or whatever, okay, or to help us by writing or using computer or writing proposals or asking for fundraising. At the same time, they come to learn and to study Arabic language. So this kind of how we deal with the volunteers. Hopefully we will have, if you could, to send to us volunteers. We great your efforts.
Well, that's very exciting. Well, sign me up. I'm coming.
You are welcome.
Oh, Nayef, it's been very inspiring. What a wonderful way to start the new year for us, because it's very
not just from not just from United States. Sorry, also from Holland. We have Kitty Arndelson. We have Rick Berhemas from Ohio. Many people came with as a volunteer with the Christian Peacemakers teams in Hebron. We, by Dr. Mubarak Awad, invited the first Christian Peacemakers teams to Hebron in 1995. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I know about that group. They're
They
awesome.
did a great job. Yes.
Yeah, they're awesome. That's great. Well,
Yes.
you've filled us with hope. I'm sitting in front of a mural of a photograph. It says Free Palestine. It's in Hebron. I don't really, I told you I got lost. I was wandering all over. And somewhere I photographed this and I got in trouble. There was an IDF soldier who saw me do it. And then when I started crossing closer to the settlement, they questioned me who was I, showed them my passport, yada, yada, yada. They didn't like the fact that I photographed this mural, but it says Free Palestine. It's very big, very beautiful. And when I get back to Hebron, I have to see if it's still there. But you've given us hope for 2022, Nayef, which is a wonderful gift because a lot of us have been getting very depressed and discouraged about the situation. So we see you're there and you're doing amazing work. Thank you for sharing it with us so that you're not hiding your light under a bushel, but shedding your light on us so that now we understand more clearly the hope for Hebron, that Hebron has hope. And God bless you in your work. I'm going to pray for you every day. And I want to thank you for spending time with us and responding to my messengers, my crazy messages in the middle of the night to you.
Can I speak before we go to give you something? Why Hebron? Why Hebron? Hebron is the biggest city and biggest area in Palestine or in the West Bank, okay? And Hebron, 100% of Hebron area Muslims. And the stereotype about Western was very negative. So the people were thinking that any Christian is enemy, any Western people is enemy. So this was a very negative stereotype. And when we started our center, we started to give them the reality, the truth. How? By meet with these people. So we invited Suzanne Andro. Suzanne Andro, she was from the American Consulate Churches. And Joy Stahis. Also, we invited women from American churches to Alwatan Center, And when they came to Alwatan Center, people, they see women that covered. But when they see, the people saw women came to Alwatan Center, Western women without uncovered their hair and, you know, dressing not like Muslims. It was really as intifada. But yes, yes. And they were, yeah, it was very, very hot discussion that this is terrible. But we asked them to talk together. So they started to talk together, and we, by them, you know, people invited them to their houses, to, you know, and after that, by our from the churches, from the universities, from, you know, different countries, people start to know who are the Western people. They saw that the Western people are human like us. They believe in humanity. They believe in peace. They want us to have, they are not our enemy. They don't want to, the Muslims, you know. So this is, for that, we at Alwatan Center are so happy that we change the negative stereotype for the Western people. And now, you know, no any attack for any Western human in Hebron, even for Jews. You know, the Jews came to Alwatan or to our homes. You know, I am not talking about settlers or who are militant. No, I am talking about civilians.
Yeah.
You know, and this is the great effort and the great job what we did or what we are doing at Alwatan Center.
That's wonderful. That's amazing, because I know how difficult that can be, having lived in Jordan for many years. And, you know, I understand how the fundamentalists, Islamicists can be extremely difficult to deal with. So it's to your credit that you were able to break through that barrier. So that's, again, giving us a wonderful sign of hope and peace and reconciliation and dialogue. So blessings to you in Hebron. Be safe. Try not to get shot this year. Okay.
Yes.
Get shot or arrested. Okay.
Yes.
You're in our prayers, and we will hopefully talk to you again. There's some wonderful, and if you look at the chat, there's some wonderful comments to you, thanking you for sharing with us your story. It's really amazing. I can't believe what you're doing in Hebron, having been there, and I'm looking forward to going back now and seeing what's possible and what's hopeful in Hebron. And I won't be so terrified of going back, because I know you're there. So God bless you, and have a healthy and happy New Year to you, especially, and to everyone who joined us. And I'll be making a video of this and posting it on making a YouTube video, and I'll send the link out to everybody, so that people who are too hungover, or people on the West Coast who are still sleeping off on New Year's Eve, will be able to see your wonderful interview. Thank you, Nayef, and send our love and blessings to you and to your family and to all the people in the Alwatan Center. So we'll say goodbye to everybody.
To you and your families. Thank you.
Thank
you are invited to visit us.
We're coming. We're coming. Bye-bye. Masalama.
Thank you.
Masalama.
Assalamu alaikum.